the Line 6 link, and they've been configured, so it knows they're there, network aware, you don't have to figure it out. And the way you create a channel is basically just by plugging something in. So if I plug this guy in, you see that now I have a microphone stand right there. He's kind of lonely, but he's there. You can move him wherever you want, wherever he is on stage. You can name him something, so if you want to call him Bob, it's great. That way, if your singer's name is Bob, you can always talk to him. If you ever wanted to touch Bob, you can now do it. So you can move. That didn't come off well, did it? So you can move this wherever you want. And when it comes to sort of like modifying this channel or being able to change the way it sounds, think about the way that you interact with a human being. When you interact with a sound guy, if I'm playing a live gig, I don't use technical terms to describe what I want to my sound guy. I tell him, can you make it brighter? Can you make it darker? Can you make it fatter? His job is to interpret what I'm asking and give me what I want. The problem with using a mixer usually, for most people, is that you have to know the language of mixer, right? You have to know how EQ works. You have to know that that ring you're hearing is at 2K, not 3K. Which is a lot of knowledge that you have to be able to use a mixer like this. This actually doesn't work that way. So, before we even get there, check this out. If you go to setup, you're seeing these pictures here. Those actually represent not just pretty pictures, they represent presets, the entire presets of input channel types. So you pick a picture of what you have connected to that channel, and it will change everything about the architecture of that channel. It'll change processing. It'll pre-EQ it for you. It will add whatever processing it would seem like it would need for that type of instrument. It basically does all the work for you already. So all you have to do is tweak minorly from that. So if I switch over to this mic, we'll see if this actually works. Okay, it does. All right, so hang on. So I'll switch here. Okay. So now I'm coming out of here. So this is my microphone off the stage. So if I just select any one of these pictures, basically any one of these preset files, it would automatically change the entire architecture of that channel to meet what I basically asked it to do. I'm already conversing with it by saying, I want a picture of a rock dude. Give me, lead vocal guy. Cool. And now, you just recalled lead vocal guy. One thing you can tell about lead vocal guy is that he likes a lot of reverb, apparently. That's too much reverb for my lead vocal guy, so I'm going to turn that down. But you can tell already that the vocal sounds different. It's been shaped. Some mid-range has been cut. It's a little crisper. It's a little bit more manageable. It doesn't sound so muddy, right? So you're already taking some of that burden off yourself just by selecting the first preset. So we've added some of the ability to the M20d to be able to understand what you're asking it. So when you go to the tweak mode, your initial view is basically this easy channel, if that makes sense. You're looking at an XY banner that represents all the processing underneath the hood that the M20d has created for that channel. So if I go to the Tone tab, this basically represents my EQ. And you can see that the values on this XY pad do not represent actual values. They represent words that you might recognize: body, bright, dark, and deep. And the idea behind this is you simply touch the XY pad and move your finger towards the word you recognize. And you stop when it starts to sound more like what you want. So if I go to neutral,
If you could make sound on that, huh?
Neutral, right? So underneath the hood, it is changing a bunch of different parameters, not just one. So it's not just moving one little parameter. It might be shifting a bunch of different stuff to try to give you and shape for you. It's a virtual sound guy inside the box. That's the idea. So you don't have to know what it's doing. You simply move your finger towards what you think you want and see what it does for you. This can even train you how to do live sound, because you can move your finger, figure out where it actually sounds good, and then figure out what it's doing under the hood. To that end, I realize that this kind of behavior might not be apropos for some people. For me, I actually know what those EQ values are. I want to know what's under the hood. You can do that. So if you hop over this little thing that looks like a graduate's cap. Obviously, this is smart guy mode. So because that, you've got basically advanced tweak. So at this point, you have the ability to gander at every parameter that the M20d is currently doing underneath the hood. So you can see that right now, things have changed. Now you've got a real-time analyzer. Every channel actually creates this view when you've got a signal coming through it. The view here on the top represents the channel strip, basically the order of effects from left to right. So you've got your input channel strip, of course. You have your high-pass filter. This guy has a dynamic EQ. It's got a compressor. It's got a 6-band EQ on it. And you can interact with these values much the same way you can interact with the XY planners. The difference is you're moving specific values now, not just bright or dark, but right? So there's enough DSP power in here to please any tweak head. You don't have to run it in easy mode if you don't want to, but you certainly can. Now, if you think about a mixer like this, it's already pretty dang smart. It would be really nice if it could help you get to your mix faster, and it's already doing that in some ways, right? You're picking a preset that's already sort of EQ'd, and it's getting you to your mix faster. But what if it could help you get to your mix faster repeatedly? And by that I mean, if you're playing the same club, let's say you play the same club twice a month. Traditionally what happens is you finish on Saturday night, thank you, and you leave. You come back 2 Saturdays from now, and you start with a flat board, you sit there for 2 hours and go, check, 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 check. Oh, damn, that sounds good, right? This can store every preset, every value, everything in the entire console into a setup. So you push save after the last note on Saturday night, and when you get there to the same club 2 weeks later, you push recall, and you're back to the exact same mix you had. So that means as you learn more about the room, as people walk around the room, they're like, oh, you know what, it sounds pretty good back there, but it doesn't sound that good over here. We should sort of figure out how to fill this area. As you learn more about the environment that you're playing in, you can tweak your mix. So you're starting from a point which is already much more shaped than you would traditionally have, right? So to that end, I don't think you'd want to hear me tweak and so check, check, check for 15 minutes to try to get something to sound good. So if we just pop over here, now give me a second, I'm going to turn this off just in case something happens weird. Hang on. So, I've got all my stuff. Almost, there we go. So now I've got my recall, and you're seeing that my screen looks a little different. So now I have angry vocal guy, but he's joined by an upright bass. Yeah, why does angry guy need an upright bass? But anyway, so he's joined by an upright bass. He's joined by an acoustic guitar, a couple different wedges there. So at this point, I'd like to call up my friend Philip Bino to play some bass for me. Thank you, everyone. Phil. Most famous for his appearances on Desperate Housewives of Salt Lake and Survivor Atlanta. Yeah, exactly. You'll never make it out this way with alive. But at least you have good barbecue. Okay, so that's kind of great. So we're thinking about a little bit of Hank Williams. Oh yeah, sorry. So yeah, by the way, Philip reminded me, you notice how much low end's coming out of these speakers? I don't have the subwoofer hooked up yet. This is just these speakers. And I've got it rolled off at about 70 hertz already because it was feeling a little bit uneasy up here, let's put it that way. I didn't know if I'd be able to hold my lunch. So we've got that rolled off as well. So these guys have the ability to put out almost anything you need. Remember the 1400 watts of cabinet. Take these chains from my heart and set me free. You've gone cold and no longer care for me. If your love for me is gone, then my heart lingers on. Take these chains from my heart and set me free. Take these tears from my eyes so I can see. They're just echoes of the love that used to be. If you found somebody new, let me find someone new too. Take these chains from my heart and set me free. I just bought this. Just that easy, just that simple, just that quick to switch back. Okay, so thank you, Philip Bynum. Appreciate it. Nothing like playing, nothing like trying to play acoustic guitar after not touching it for an hour. It's awesome. Hey, my hands are cold. I can shred now. Stupid. Okay, so that's fun. And here's the question: if you're looking at the ultimate culmination of what we're talking about here, you start at stage 1 with a small speaker, you're moving to stage 2, you've got a larger setup. At some point, you're going to want to play a larger bass. And so what I'm standing in front of it, on stage 3, represents 10,000 watts of power. But it represents something else, and it's important to make this distinction. The investment that you made in the first speaker is just as relevant on stage 1 as it is on stage 2. You add a couple more things to it to help you play more stuff. And it's just as relevant on stage 3 when you use it to create a 10,000 watt system, right? So your system, you could break this whole system apart and go play 30 coffee houses if you wanted. Or I don't know, 30, how many speakers are. But you could break this entire system apart if your whole band wanted to go out and play a solo night each around town. There's nothing else in the world that can do that. So what I'd like to do now is sort of show the culmination of what this does. So you got a bunch of floor wedges, you got a bunch of stuff up here. It's worth noting, I think, that even though you're seeing videos change, and you're seeing lighting change and all this kind of stuff, there is no sound guy. For me, unfortunately, it's me. I'm the sound guy. So we're sort of, living what we're preaching in the sense that, no one's changing sound for it. The mixer's right here. So this wouldn't really be possible normally without a system like this. So what I'd like to do is bring up my friends Nate Morton on drums, Will Cramley on keyboards, Philip again, and also young James Bushel. Wow, okay. So, wow, really? What key do we do that in? E flat? Yeah, I'm asking for a reason. The land of capos. Right, okay, so. All right, so what we're going to do is put together a little bit of music here for you, and then don't go anywhere, because I'm not done. I've got stuff to talk about, because it'll be kind of interesting to see what happens here in a minute.